Hello everyone, in today's video we will be continuing our work on equations. We will be looking at multiplication, division, and then combinations of previous, basically the four basic operations. So when you see something like this where it's 3x without signifying basically what is going on between the number and the x, it is implied that there's a multiplication symbol between them. So 3x means 3 times x. So again, as we said yesterday, when we have an equation, our goal is to get x alone on one side of the equation. So here we need to get rid of this 3. We're going to do that by doing to both sides of the equation the opposite of what it is currently doing to the x. Currently, it is multiplying the x. So, to get rid of it, we are going to divide this 21 by 3. So we're going to get that x is equal to 21 divided by 3 makes 7. Next, it doesn't really matter that the x is first and the 5 is second. In multiplication, the order of the numbers doesn't matter. So 5x is the same thing as saying, x5 is the same thing as saying 5x. X times 5, right? So to get rid of it, we need to divide both sides by 5. So we're going to do 40 divided by 5. Here I'm writing the division symbol as the fraction line. You don't have to write it like that. It might get confusing with me crossing. We can do it like this, where the crossing out, I make an x over the number I crossed out, whereas I make the fraction line to show division. But we could also just use the division symbol we are more familiar with. So x is equal to 40 divided by 5, meaning that x is equal to 8. Next, what happens when x is on the other side? Nothing really changes. We've said that we can flip what's on each side of the equal sign. So 100 equals x can be turned into 100 equals 2x can be turned to 2x equals 100. Then we cross this out and divide this by 2. So x will be equal to 100 divided by 2, which is 50. Then we have that 200 is equal to x times 25. So x 25 is going to be equal to 200. Cross out the 25, divide here by 25, and we have that x is equal to 200 divided by 25, which makes 8. So x is 8. Next, what happens with division? Again, we need to do to x the opposite. We need to do basically to both sides of the equation the opposite of what is currently happening to x. So since right now x is being divided by 15, we need to multiply both sides by 15. Both sides. This divided by 15 and this multiplied by 15 will cancel each other out. So instead of writing all that, I can just cross out this times 15 and write times 15. So x is equal to, and I actually shouldn't be using this multiplication symbol because we have an x. So I should be using just dot. So x is equal to 4 times 15, which is equal to 60. But what happens when x is the number that we are dividing with? When x is the number we are dividing with, it's kind of like what we do when we are subtracting x. So when we have, for example, 45 minus x, what we said that let's say we have 45 minus x equals 3. What we said yesterday we do is we swap the x with the number, right? So x and 3 would switch places. Well, that's the same thing that we do with division here. So we turn this into 45 divided by 3 is equal to x. And so now I'm going to do 45 divided by 3 while at the same time flipping the sides. So x is equal to 45 divided by 3 makes 15. If you want to see in more detail what I just did, I'm going to write it here and then I'm going to delete it. So with a little more detail, what I just did was I multiply both sides by x. So this divide x and this times x get crossed out. So this becomes 45 equals 3x. And then I divide both sides by 3. So we get to 45 divided by 3 equals x, which is this right here. The trick that I told you where you switch places between the x and the number on the other side of the equation, that's this, basically, just faster without requiring that you write all of that. All right, next. Again here, we have x on the other side, but we've said that we can switch it, no problem. We can flip the equal sign, mirror it basically without any consequences. So x divided by 25 is equal to 4, meaning that I can turn this into x equals 4 times 25. And 4 times 25 is 100. So x is 100. This, again, I'm going to flip the equal sign, so 125 divided by x is equal to 5. And here we have another case where we're dividing with x. X is the number we're dividing with. So I'm going to switch it around with the 5. And this will become 125 divided by 5 equals x. And so x is equal to 125 divided by 5, which is 25. Next up, let's do some combinations. Here we have 4x plus 2x, right? Okay, so what we do here is when we're adding multiples of x, we just add the numbers that we are multiplying with x. So 4 and 2 makes 6, so 6x. 4x plus 2x becomes 6x. Because think about what this means basically, right? This is saying 4x plus 2x, right? So what this basically is saying is x plus x plus x plus x, right? That's the first 4 x's plus x plus x. All right, well, these 4 and these 2 make a total of 6 without us needing to have them separately, right? So 4x plus 2x becomes 6x. And 6x is equal to 72. Divide both sides by 6. And we get that x is equal to 72 divided by 6, which makes 12. Next up, here we have combination. 100 minus 5 times 4. So I put the minus sign because it's a given that there's a multiplication sign between the 4 and the x, but between numbers it's not a given, because if this did not exist here, this multiplication symbol, you could think that this was just 54, right? But between a number and a letter, that's what we mean. When there's no symbol between them, it's implied that there's a multiplication going on. So here we have 100 times 5 minus 4x. Before we continue, we can do this 5 times 4, and that makes 20. So this will become 100 minus 20x equals 60. Right? Now, you need to keep in mind that when this is not as simple as before. So yeah, I could get rid of this 100 and send it to the other side, but then we'd have minus 20x, which means that we have negatives, which means that our result is we're going to have to work with negative numbers, and that's never easy. So instead of doing that, what we could do is send the x to the other side and bring the 60 over this side. So for example, if you had 100 minus x, if you had 100 minus x equals 60, you could use that trick that we showed yesterday where you switch the x and the number on this side of the equation. But here you have this 20. So is this ruining it for you? Well, no, because when a number is being multiplied by x, these two are like a package. They go together until the very end of the equation, when you're going to have a number times x equals to a number on an they're on different sides of the sign.